Communication expert Nancy Duarte says we're living in a one-draft culture. And I'm asking you to join the fight today, the fight against a one-draft culture, by spending 50% of your time in this third step of the writing process, polishing. Now, this is arguably the most important step of the process. This could make or break your message. Now it's time to bring in the carpenter. We're going to be working off of the architect's plans, filling out your content on a sentence level. We're going to be moving those sentences around, shaping the flow of information on a paragraph level, and filling in gaps, missing ideas, transition words, and phrases. Then it's time to bring in the judge who's going to make the final decisions, fine-tuning your word choices, double-checking your facts and figures, and maybe even deleting entire paragraphs. The judge is exacting and precise. The polishing step has 3 tasks. First, you're going to think about how and when you'll polish your writing. Second, you're going to revise your content. And third, you're going to proofread your content. So first, you want to think about how and when you'll polish your content. You want to work backwards from your deadline, factoring in your other commitments and what you know about yourself as a writer and your habits. For example, if your deliverable is due in 3 days, then you know you need to get your draft done after just 1 day so that you have time to review with a fresh pair of eyes and polish effectively. You'll also have time to ask for feedback if you don't know the answers to any of the questions that have come up during the writing process. Now, we want to remember that the 3Ps process is not necessarily linear. You don't always just go step 1, 2, 3. You might be going in and out of the different phases as you write. For example, during the polishing phase, you might realize you need more research, so you go back and do a little more planning. Number 2, you want to revise. Now, you might be asking yourself, what's the difference between revision and proofreading? Well, I like to think about revision takes care of the global issues in your writing. So let's say 2 people walked into the ER. One person has an arm kind of hanging off broken. Another person has a cut on their finger. Who's the doctor going to see first? Broken arm guy, right? So this is how you can think about revision. Revision should take about 45% of your time. That's right, 45%. The first question I ask myself when I'm revising is, would I want the world to see this? You also want to ask yourself, does it actually accomplish my purpose? Is it structured in a logical flow based on my reader's reaction? Do I use a positive and courteous tone even if it's a negative message? Do I include unnecessary or unhelpful information that I should get rid of? Is it clear, concise, and readable? And remember, the higher the stakes, the longer the revision time. Last but not least, the third step is proofreading. Now remember, we want to save local level issues for proofreading, those Band-Aid level issues. This is going to take about 5% of your time. You're going to be checking things like your grammar, your punctuation, that you got all the names right, the numbers right, your formatting's correct. So this is going to save you a lot of time in the long run. Because if you revise for global level issues, you're going to be changing lots of stuff around. And if you proofread line by line as you're going, you might even cut some of that out. So it's a waste of time. Something that I find really helpful in proofreading my writing is actually printing the document out. I think this really helps me see it with a fresh pair of eyes, different than on the computer screen that I've been staring at for so long. I also like to read my messages out loud. I find that I catch a lot more grammatical errors that way. And you can always ask someone else to read it and give you some feedback. So, when we're in this last stage, the polishing stage, we want to think about our revision plan. We want to revise for global level issues, proofread for local level issues. This is going to make the audience feel special. Show them that they're worth more than a first draft.